Happy Saturday, Shana Tova, and welcome to the Paradigm Shift episode 130. 130 weeks in a row consecutively, no weeks off. We have a very special guest on today, Sonia. Gonna bring you on in less than five. We're gonna talk all things intuition, vibes, spirituality, and everything in between. But first, Big Dave, bringing you on right now, you sex kitten. Let us know in the chats where you're dialing in from and how you're doing. Some questions in the chat today. Let's be interactive. You dig? Big bro in the house. Breathe. Savannah, great to see you. Uncle Dave.
What's going on, buddy?
Shana Tova.
Shana Tova Tekatevu.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, man. You looking forward to it?
I am, actually. I'm
Great.
not super religious. I am Jewish. Most important to me is my relationship with God, but I'm leading into the traditions. We're going to spend some time with cousins tonight, and I'm available, and I'm excited. How about you?
Yeah, we got a very active day celebrating with our family and then finishing up with a football game with Miles, so I get the best of both worlds.
That's great. How's he doing?
He's doing really well, man. So between football, golf, school, he's enjoying your journey. When you become a parent, you'll realize that your greatest joy is the joy of your children. And my daughter Mia's out here. She's working with Ellie Zeiler. They have their own company that's been accelerating. So I got two of my kids with me, and my other daughter just left back to see you.
I love it. And I have no doubt what you said to be true with the kids. The thing that I'm most excited about in life, upcoming, is God willing, is to be a dad.
Yeah, you'll be a great one, man. You got plenty of time.
Yes. Thank you. Let's dive right in with a very special guest on today, which I'm super excited about. It could be some really fun, sexy, interesting topics. But as usual, I'll hit you with a couple fresh, juicy nuggets. You ready for me?
I'm always ready for you.
So you're talking about this week that you get your priorities from your values. I think I know what you mean, and I think that's so important. I think this could help a lot of people, especially today. Elaborate.
Well, it's impossible to prioritize activities you have planned, unplanned, even your sleep, or any activities in the context of each man-made 24-hour day. And so I give mechanisms, modalities, and methodologies in order to effectuate what's important to you today. And I think it's really important, that last word, because too many people get overwhelmed and procrastinate because they think in obtuse and infinite types of thought of what's important to me. Well, that doesn't help you prioritize today. The only thing you need to prioritize is today in the trajectory of the infinite past and infinite future. So what I suggest to everyone is, if you know your values, if you know personally what you want, experientially what you want, giving wise, receiving wise, each day in a trajectory of where you think you want to be, the infinite, and learn by giving meaning to the lessons of the past, meaning to the defining moments, failures and setbacks, void shortage, obstacles, even historical relevances like Rosh Hashanah, all of these different things. If we know what's important to us today in a trajectory of the infinite, then we're able to quickly prioritize what we have planned, and more importantly, what we don't have planned against what we have planned. Because if you want to make God laugh at you, especially on Rosh Hashanah, come up with a well-developed plan.
Yeah. It's so funny because I always heard that expression, but it's like you should definitely be intentional with your life, right?
Yeah.
But kind of surrender and flow.
Yeah, you got to be intentional about today, but you have to be allowing for the outcomes, right? I have a PhD in outcomes, right? I may not, I've gone to law school, business school. My siblings all went to the Ivy Leagues. They can say what they want about Harvard, Penn, Columbia. There's a reason I teach at those schools. There's a reason they asked me to speak at those schools, because I have a PhD in outcomes. And those outcomes, one of the reasons they have me speak and teach on those topics is not because of a positive outcome. It's because I lost everything, over $100 million. And people want to allow me to pay the dummy tax so they don't have to lose their money. And so those lessons are what I call the PhD of outcomes.
Yeah. You also have a PhD in cuteness. So
Yeah.
there's that.
Look at this ferocious Buddha. That's what it is. He looks like he's taking a dump. He's constant. It's the constipated Buddha.
He does. Did you enjoy? We're gonna bring on our guest right now, but did you enjoy football this weekend?
Oh my God! Even though my Chargers lost and your Jets won, those were the two best games of the week. So I think they're the only two games I watched from start to finish.
Crazy with Aaron Rodgers. I can't help but think when I experience life now, whether it be for me or I see situations like this, maybe this is too deep, but I'm curious what you think. I immediately ask, like, I wonder why that really happened.
Yeah, so here's what's really funny. My daughters were invited in Woody Johnson's suite. And so they were with Woody. And one of my daughters was like, Dad, why is Mr. Johnson so upset? I'm like, well, imagine building $100 million house and having it burn down in your first 2 hours moving in.
Yeah.
So Woody was a little upset.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. Sonia, hi. Thank you for joining us.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
It's great to see you. I'm such a fan. The audience is in such a treat today. Where are you dialing in from? Where are you located right now?
Right now I'm in Cabo, in Mexico,
Ah,
Paris, but I am visiting some friends here. I leave tomorrow.
Oh, I love it. Good trip so far?
So far, it's been pure relaxation.
did
It's
you get
been
to go?
really
Oh, did you get to go to Flora Farm? Sorry for interrupting. One of my
no
favorite.
funny you say that because I was told to go there, and that's where we're going tonight.
One of
Intuitive.
my favorite restaurants. You'll love it.
I heard about it, so we're going tonight on my last night.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
This is great. Love the alignment already. There's so many places we can take this conversation. I encourage the audience to play catch up with Sonia in case you weren't familiar. But ironically enough, Sonia, before you hopped on, Dave and I were talking about kids, and I'm not a human dad yet. I have a puppy and a fiance, but I can't wait to be. But I was checking out your content, and I saw you say something really powerful, and that was that we should teach our children to trust their vibes. And I'd love to find out a little bit more about what you mean by that.
Well, I've been working with intuition for my whole life, and I've been doing coaching for 40 years. And the number one problem I see across the board is adults who are miserable because they were taught to abandon their own hearts, listen to others. For you, in case in point, doing something that you were probably really encouraged to do that was all wrong for you. And so we get scrambled when we're kids, and we are taught that other people know how to run our lives better than us. And you learn that early, and you often learn it at home. Now, not that anybody's trying to mislead you, but the parents learn that, and it goes on and on. So I truly believe the most important thing we can do is teach our kids at home, they're young, by our modeling and our input. Listen to your heart. It will take care of you. Trust your vibes.
Dave, same frequency?
Oh, absolutely. And to spin off of that, and I think looking at all your stuff, Sonia, and helping Craig, I like to divide things into ignorant people. There's two types of people: ignorant people that don't know what they don't know, ignorant people that don't know what they don't know. There's the ignorant, humble people that admit no matter what stature, success, education, intelligence, intuition, and even inspiration that they have, the humble people will admit, I don't know what I don't know. There's trillions of variables. How could I know what I don't know? And then the other one is the ignorant, arrogant people that they know they don't know what they don't know, but they're so scared that they pretend that they know what they don't know. And what they usually do, and Craig just had this experience in the last few weeks, is they attack you. And those ignorant, arrogant people, the haters out there, I don't give them any energy or any mind. They're very easy to deal with. I don't want to vibe. But the reason I brought it up is you bring this interesting point up, because the most dangerous, ignorant, arrogant people in our lives are the people that love us the most. And understanding intuition, intelligence, and inspiration and how they interrelate with one another, it's really important to know that, and I tell my own children this, hey, take my advice like a handful of sand. Just say, thank you, Dad. I appreciate you caring, but let it fall through your hand if it doesn't resonate with you. If your intuition says, hey, that's not me, because I am most ignorant and arrogant with the people that I'm most afraid for. And I am, and every parent is more afraid for their children than they are for themselves. So inherently, we're going to give really shitty advice to our children because we're going to give advice out of, oh my gosh, if he doesn't work on Wall Street, he's not going to be able to buy a house and get married and have 2.5 kids and a car. And I'm not going to ever get those grandkids. And that's really what I want. And so all of these inherent arrogances are included. So I just want to raise the awareness, which to me is what intuition is. Intuition isn't a decisive intelligence. Intuition doesn't tell you what to do. What it does is it raises your awareness whether something is your vibe, if it resonates with you, or it's not. And then you can allow the man-made construct of time to evolve and unravel to teach you the lessons of what's vibing with you. And so there's a reason that it's taken you 40 years in order to help so many people. And I want to encourage the younger people to understand these distinctions, but really pay attention to that intuition, what vibes with you. And beware, we love our parents, tell them I appreciate your advice, but it's just a handful of sand they're giving you, because they care so much about you, they love you, they deserve your appreciation, but it doesn't mean they know what the heck they're talking about. And I'm talking about myself as a parent of 4. My kids know this about me. Take my advice with a handful of sand.
Dave's on fire today. Sonia, you agree?
Well, I wrote my book, The Intuitive Spark, 20 years ago, actually. And I've
When
been
Craig was
teaching.
born.
Yeah. What I tell parents is, first of all, before you teach your kids anything, tune in and start checking in with, am I listening to my own inner guidance system? Am I congruent? I don't feel our job as parents is to in any way coach them, other than when they, to keep them safe and alive, but not to be who I want you to be. So the message that I'm trying to introduce here, and have been my whole life, and even I taught this course that I just released with my grown daughter. We did it together. Now she has her daughter, is that we have 6 senses. And the 6 is just as important as the other 5. And we really need to change the paradigm of understanding who we are, so that we know that that inner heart voice is not something weird. It's something essential to our congruency and well-being. So we really need to, and my mom was great with me when I was growing up, and I would ask her, can I do this or that? She always said to me, which was quite unusual, before I answer, what does your heart say? That's how I grew up. And that's how I raised my daughters. And I think that's how we're have healthier, happier people, if we at least create an environment that invites that inner voice to participate in the conversation.
This is beautiful. This is a little different tonight, Dave. This is awesome.
Oh, well, it may be different for our audience, but I think, it's something that I study every day, and I even utilize it in speaking. I tell people all the time, 10% of the people are going to be at your frequency, and they're going to love you no matter what. And 10% won't be, and they're not going to love you. It's just through the repetition of increasing the spectrum of that frequency, that vibration. I think relative, though, to frequency and vibration is awareness. And if we can elevate our awareness, we elevate our frequency, our vibration, if we strengthen our signal, widen our spectrum, then things get a little bit easier and simpler in life, and we can utilize that power and empowerment in our children, especially, which is what Sonia's been doing her whole life, and then carrying it forward and empowering others, that it is a matter of empowerment. And the thing that really stood out, Sonia, that illustrates extreme wisdom to me, is that people can't reconcile a parent keeping their children safe and allowing them to make mistakes and make choices. And so, you're not going to allow your child to play in the street or play by a pool if they're 3 years old. And yet somehow parents confuse, and so do children, this reconciliation of, am I actually just keeping you safe, which is a duty of a parent to keep you alive? Or am I allowing you to make mistakes that don't render you in grave danger, but may stagnate your growth, your acceleration towards a trajectory of what you want? And people have difficulty. Sonia, how have you helped, especially parents, understand that distinction that, telling Craig to be a Wall Street broker is not keeping him safe? It's different than letting him play in the pool unsupervised.
Well, first of all, I really believe that parents need to start with their kids at a young age, getting to know who they are, not who I want them to be. So you start the conversation when they're little. I have a granddaughter now at 2, and I already see who she is. She's spontaneous, she's creative, imaginative, musical. I'm not going to in any way not see that. So you start the conversation asking often, what are you looking for? What do you love? What do you care about? And I teach parents to check in and say, well, that if that doesn't feel right to me, let's talk about it. Let's talk about what I'm worried about, because a lot of what people are saying, I'm keeping you safe, they're just taking care of their own fears.
Yes.
I'm not really you safe. I'm just don't want to worry about you, and this is my idea for who you should be. So I really tell parents to give your children the dignity of knowing who they are, communicating with what they love, and not invalidating it outright because it might be an interest that doesn't resonate in them. I have a client who became a incredible musician, world-class musician, and his parents both told him music was a waste of time. But it was spirit, his inner guidance, that would not listen to that, and he had to fight for it. Now they're sitting in the front row of his 50,000 people concerts, but he said they never supported it. I actually had to fight to be who I am, and that's what I want to ease. Like, let's stop the fight and start trust your vibes, but trust your kids' vibes. Trust the spirit.
And just want to add something real quick, Craig, because it's totally aligned with the personal energy crisis that's existing today. And the biggest energy crisis that exists today is between exactly what Sonia's talking about, which is who we are and who we want people to think we are. And that void, that energy suck exists, especially with the people most relative to us that we want to be validated from and to, which of course is our parents and our siblings and other relatives. So in that awareness of who we are, like this musician who had a strong understanding and awareness of who he was or she was compared to what we want people to think we are. And that creates, so especially as you get into your 50s, I know, Craig, you're not close yet, but you see so many very frustrated middle-aged people like myself sitting in big offices in the corner of big companies, and all they think about all day is, I need to jump out this window because I'm miserable, because I've lived my life worrying about what people think I am, and I actually am in this. And so that's the energy suck that I'm trying to help people with as well, to raise that awareness. I'm sorry for interrupting you, Craig.
No, this is awesome. This is the perfect conversation at the perfect time. And the way you described that musician, I don't know, really penetrated my soul. There's so many other things that I can ask you, but I want to be conscious of time. I know it's Saturday. I wanted to ask you this one. I feel as though all of us have a similar amount of potential. I feel like the greats have learned how to tap into a higher percentage of their own potential. And one thing I've been able to do over the last couple of years, a lot better, and I still have a lot of ways to go, is to become available for those creative divine downloads. You're obviously much further ahead than I am with stuff like that. How can someone listening today start to become more available for those creative divine downloads?
I love the question, and I love that you phrased it as available, because that's exactly the right frame of mind. What blocks our inner guidance is fear. Some of it's real, some of it's perceived, but I have a little tool that I call empty the garbage. And the way that you want to get some insights and intuitive guidance is first just name out loud all the things you're afraid of. I'm afraid I'll fail. I'm afraid I'm too late. I'm afraid I'm unloved. I'm afraid I'm not attractive. I'm afraid I don't have enough money. Then after you do this about 30 seconds, Look right in front of you and notice something and name it. There's this, I'm looking at the sea. There's the sea. There's my teapot. There's my light state. You breathe, put your hand on your heart or your gut, and you can say out loud, my heart says, if that resonates, or my gut says, and say it out loud. And my gut says, and my gut says, and my heart says, and just bypass the brain. Just come right at it directly through your voice. And because intuition rises up from the center of your body, it doesn't drop in your noisy head. And this, then, final point that's important, you don't have to listen. A lot of people don't want to listen because what your heart or your gut will say makes you uncomfortable. You don't want to hear it. It scares you. So you say, well, okay, I'll give myself the chance to consider this and give myself a choice later, but let me just hear what it has to say. Then you don't block it. And that works pretty much every time because it works. Your intuition is just ready to be heard, ready to be voiced. You just have to be ready to hear it.
This is awesome, huh, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, look, I am happy, healthy, wealthy, worthy, and Sonia helps people figure out what you're doing to interfere with it, and what a great tool that is, or mechanism it is, to raise through intuition the awareness of what you're doing to interfere, FEAR, with your potential and your truth. And so many people are stuck in that fear, as we all know, and it's really limiting their self-image. And everyone knows you can't overachieve your own self-image. Just absolutely brilliant, helpful for everyone.
Yeah.
I also like to tell people to make the distinction between being afraid and being in danger. Being afraid is sort of this existential ego feeling that we all have that lives for approval, but your spirit, your authentic self, isn't afraid and doesn't need approval and self-loves. So this gives that spirit in you, the authentic, empowered, inspired, creative self, a chance to speak. First, I call the fearful brain your barking dog. So let your barking dog bark till it's quiet, and then let your spirit speak. That's how it works.
Oh man. Yeah. And I think sleep, a lot of people don't put themselves in a position not only to recover when they sleep, but to be accessible to those downloads. I know, spent 17 years with a sleep coach, specifically focusing my attention on this issue of accessibility and allowing the divine downloads, and then utilizing meditation when I wake up to transcend the information or the download for purposeful, intentional activity during the day. So I think it's important people understand it's not just a conscious accessibility. It can be a subconscious and unconscious accessibility for that divine.
Very
This is so good.
sleep, meditation, movement, body movement, all that gets you out of your head and gets you back to your heart and body works.
Yeah. The only negative I got on is we don't have 30 hours to chat. I know you guys want to get back to your family. I'll land the plane with one final short nugget. I selfishly wanted to ask you this one. I thought it was so beautiful. I saw you say there is no right answer, only intuitive truth. Okay, tell us what you mean by that one.
Or I say the ego is right and wrong. So my ego will fight with your ego and who's right and who's wrong. So we step into what I call the third space. Your intuition is what feels true for me for now.
Yeah. Time's a dependent variable of all matter. So I love that last word. It means so much to people to lose or to find context within time itself. So for now, what a beautiful sentiment that is. And it is, the needs of the subconscious and conscious of the ego to be right, offended, separate, inferior, superior, anxious, frustrated, and angry. But we need to reconcile that intelligence that we're born with two of the other things, which you're an expert at, Sonia, the intuition and inspiration that we're also blessed with beyond our intelligence, which has a subset of a conscious to protect us from that which endangers us. What a blessing it is, Sonia. I'd love to see you more. You're amazing.
Yeah.
You both are so amazing, so inspiring, and it was so wonderful to start my day off at 7:30 in the morning, and what a great way to start.
Yeah, this is really special. Sonia, you're fantastic. I'm going to do some more stuff with you. I'll connect you after. Dave, as always, thank you for my partner in crime, a mentor, and I love you, and I hope you both have an unbelievable weekend.
You
Bless
too.
you both.
All my love.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Love,
Bye.
love.
Bye, guys. Wow, that was epic. For our audience and listeners, if you guys weren't familiar with Sonia, do yourself a favor and go check her out right now. Her content is unbelievable. That was the perfect conversation, in my opinion, at the perfect time. My type of these are my dinner conversations. Being honest, this is the stuff I love to talk about. Kim, love you. That was just so special. Intuition and vibes, and how do we become available to receive those Crave Divine downloads? It's really special. I actually dropped a solo episode of the Sales Experience yesterday on learning how to receive something similar. But Sonia says it probably much more beautifully than I do, and she has a lot more life experience. That was awesome. If you guys want a free How to Reinvent Your Life toolkit, just drop the word book here in the comments. We'll DM you one. Make sure to check your messages. And if you haven't already, grab the Wall Street Journal best-selling The Reinvention Formula. Pretty confident you'll find many useful tools in that book that apply to everybody's capacity. Neil, I see you. Love you. See, there's a bunch of you on. Give you a quick shout out. Ben Deal, love you. Kelly Zeeks, Colleen, Rachie, Bree, Alex, Mom, Kim. Happy New Year, as they say in the Jewish religion, Jewish tradition. Shana Tova. Time to reflect and figure out introspective how we can do better the following year. And I'm looking forward to that myself. And I love you guys so much. Have an unbelievable weekend. Bye, guys.